Boss Fight Gaming. Get ready. Fight!
Hey guys, welcome to another Boss Fight Gaming tutorial. Today we're playing Superliminal and we're going for 3 achievements. One being to complete the game in under 35 minutes, one to complete the game in under 60 minutes, and the final one being to complete the game as a whole. Now this is going to be very quick, so you are going to have to either try and keep up the best you can, or what I would recommend maybe is watching a little bit of the video, then pausing it, play through on your own, pause your game, watch a little bit of the video, pause the video, play a little bit through on your own, then pause your game. So repeat that process until you have got this achievement. Now it doesn't give you much leeway to make mistakes within 35 minutes, so you're going to have to try and keep up best you can, and I will try and explain best as I can what I'm doing on the screen. But a lot of it is sort of intuition, what you need to do with the blocks, turning them, etc. But as long as you sort of follow along with what I do on the screen, or what I'm sort of telling you to do, you should be absolutely fine. There is a couple of minutes leeway, but that is literally it. So without further ado, we're going to jump in. If you haven't subbed yet already, guys, please do that. We are trying to hit our 300 milestone at the moment. But yeah, thank you. Let's jump in and get you those achievements. So once you join into the game, it will actually put you on a cutscene that you have to watch through. You can't actually skip it. If you have played a little bit of the game before, you may need to start a new game. However, if this is your first time in a game, you will just have to watch this cutscene either way. And you basically need to watch the cutscene all the way through, and then we're going to jump in. And again, I'm going to try and explain what I'm doing as quickly as I can, but because of the speed that I need to do it in, it's going to be very difficult for me to explain. But it may take you a couple of times to do this, but I've done it about 4 times now, so you should be absolutely fine. It's only around 35 minutes that's going to take. So do a 360 right at the beginning, and then walk through the door, head down the corridor and walk through the door again, and keep walking through the doors. Take a left, grab the chest piece, pull it to the floor so it shrinks. Head through the next door, grab one of the blocks on the right hand side and shrink them so you can climb up and into the doorway. Head straight forward and then enter the next room. Press the button and look through the doorway and grab the block and put it on the platform below you. Walk backwards through the door and pick up the block again. Bring it into the next room, and you need to make it grow bigger, so put it above your head and keep dropping it above your head. Get closer to it each time, so each time you're getting closer it will actually get bigger and bigger. And then once it's bigger enough, you can put it over by the doorway and climb up on it, and then climb through. Head towards the chest piece painting and through the door on the right at the top. Head to the left and through the next doorway. Look through the hole on the left hand side and grab the chest piece off the table, and then look through the hole on the right hand side and put the chest piece on the button. Then head through the door ahead. Head through the next door, and then on your left hand side there's a big block of cheese. Pick it up and aim it above your head and drop it. Make sure the ramp's facing towards the door in the distance, and just keep picking it up and dropping it, and eventually it will be big enough for you to get through the door above. So keep picking it up above your head, and then eventually it will be big enough for you to walk up and jump through the doorway. Follow the corridor past the alarm clocks and take a left. Head straight forward and then pick up the block to your left and then shrink it. Walk far away from it and then pick it up again and bring it close to you. That way it'll be even smaller. Put it in the hole in the wall on top of the button and walk through the door. Walk through the next door, and then there's a box to your left. Pick it up, walk away from it, and then pick it up again so it's smaller. Look through the broken window and put the box on the button through the second window, and then walk through the door. Remembering to walk away from the block to make it smaller. Head into the next room, pick up the block off the floor. Look above your head, past the yellow and black line, and drop the box into the next room, and then pick it up and put it on the button. Head through the next room and head down the corridor. Do not go through any of the side doors, just keep going forward and take a left. Once you get through here, keep heading forward and pick the sign up from above the door, which is the exit sign, and just keep picking it up above your head until it gets bigger and bigger. Getting a little bit closer each time, because remember, the closer you get, the bigger it will get. due to perspective, and then put it across both buttons when it's big enough. Then leave the room and head through both doors. Now if it falls off and you're in this room, you will need to restart the checkpoint quickly, but once it's on both buttons you can leave both doors. Head all the way down the corridor into the room with the button, press the button on the floor, then look to your left through the hole in the wall, pick up the exit sign from above the door and keep putting it above your head till it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it will be big enough to knock down the walls on the left hand side of the room. So keep doing that until it's big enough to knock down the walls. Run through and head through one of the big green doors, and then head down through the small green door and down the corridor. Again, I can't really explain it any better than I am. Keep walking down the corridor until you fall through the floor, and it will then put you into a loading screen. Again, I am trying to explain the best of what I'm doing as I'm going along, but it's very difficult for me to explain it in detail as I'm trying to do it this fast. I would recommend you play through a couple of times anyway. Once you start in the room, turn around 180 and head out the door. Keep following the corridor to the left. Follow the corridor all the way to the left and just keep following it left through 2 doors and then down the corridor and then to the right at the end. Head down the red corridor and at the end we are going to go left. Next we're going to take a right down this corridor, grab the door and drop it, and then head to the right. The very far left door we're going to walk through. Walk towards the blue painting, down the corridor, then take a right. Walk through the first doorway, then through the double doors and take a left. Grab the green sign off the wall, lift it above our heads and make it bigger. And then we're going to put it against the far wall to make it a ramp so that we can get over it. You may need to pause the video to watch that part back so you know which wall I'm jumping over. But head over the wall and then into the next room. There is a radio. Walk past that, head up past that. When there's 2 doors up ahead, just go for the left one, then take a right into the first room. On the left hand side there's a checkered cube that you need to line up via your perspective. So just look at it, line it up, then walk backwards, use that cube, pick it up, leave the room and then use that to climb up through the doorway that's up on the ledge. Then enter the second room on the right, and then there's an orange table in the middle of the room. You will need to line up the picture again with that. There's a table on top of it that you need to line up. Then you need to go around the other side and use the vase to line up the cube. Once you've done that, bring the cube with you, turn it around and use that to create a method of climbing up. There is steps inside of it, so once you turn it around, you can use those steps to climb up. Make sure that once you're up, you turn around and pick it back up, take it into the next large room with you and use it to climb up the ledge on your left. On the second column pillar and on the ledge up top, you will need to line up the security door at the bottom, the exit, and then press the trigger to move the door out the way. Drop down and head through the door. Head up the yellow steps, both sets, 1, 2, and then head through the door on the right. Head to the middle of the green painted floor room and look up to the right where there is another checkered block. Level that off and then pick it off and use it to get up on the ledge. And then head around to the left onto the yellow scaffolding and line up the green chest piece. Once that's lined up, move the green chest piece out the way and then head through the wall where the hole is that you've just created by moving the chest piece. Head straight ahead until you come to a doorway. Head through that doorway and head across the pathway, the walkway in the warehouse, past the radio, and then take a left at the end and follow it through into the red room. Keep following the corridor down all the way and then you'll be in a room with a big skylight. Aim through the window and grab the moon. Pull the moon out the sky and lift it above you and try and get the moon to be bigger. You may need to look back down towards the way you came in. Once you do that, put it on the floor, walk over to it and grab the wooden door off the top of it. It looks like a square cork. Pick that square cork up, door up, and lift it above your head twice or 3 times till it's big enough to walk through. Walk through that, head down and head into the elevator. Now we just need to wait for this to load. Once we're loaded in, we're going to do a 180 and head out the room. Head to the left, follow the corridor down. Head to the right, go left through the offices and head through both doors. 1, 2 doors. Head straight down the yellow corridor and take a left. Head through the doorway. Head down the corridor with all the green pipes either side and just keep heading straight down. Once you go through this red door, there's a little white door on your right. We need to grab the dice from behind the door frame, so just look over towards that door. Pick up the dice from behind the door frame on the right, and then we're going to make that dice bigger so that we can use it to get over the wall. Remembering, the closer we get, the bigger the dice should technically get. And lifting it above our head while it's closer makes it easier to climb up the wall. In the next room, there's a dice on your left. Turn left and grab half of the dice and use it towards the big door at the end there, and grab the other half and put it down next to it, making a set of steps to climb up into the blue corridor. Follow the blue corridor around until you see a dice on the floor. Pick up the dice and move it to make a hole, and then head down towards the grate and move the grate off the wall and head through there. Head down the corridor past the drinks machine and then through the doorway. Once you're in the corridor with the two dice, the blue corridor, pick up either the dices and lift them above your head to make them bigger, allowing you to climb up onto the ledge ahead. Then head through the door at the end of the corridor. Walk right past the dices and up the steps, and then take a right at the top of the steps and walk through the blue door. In this room, go for the middle dice and pull it downwards into the floor. Grab the second dice and pull it to the right. Climb on it when it's at the end, and then climb up and head through the doorway. Keep heading straight forward into the next room and grab either the dices, which will give you one of the sides. Lift the side up above your head and keep lifting it up until you can create a ramp which leads to the ledge above. Use that to get up to the ledge and go through the door. Grab the dice from the right hand side and bring it forward so you can get up the ledge, using the pieces to get up. If you put it too high, you will have to grab a single piece and make that bigger for help you to climb up. Make your way over and past it and grab the dice in the distance, and that will create a doorway that you're allowed to drop inside the dice with. Head all the way down and it'll drop you into a red room. Turn around, head through the blue open door and head towards the elevator, and then head inside. Then once we are inside, we will need to wait for the game to load into the next area. Once we spawn in our room, we're going to do a 180 turn and go out the door. Head down the corridor to the left and follow it to the right. Head through the office on the left hand side and go through both doors. Head down the yellow corridor and take a left. Head all the way down the green corridor, all the way to the very end, and on the very end there's a door to the right hand side that's open. We are going to head through that door. The lights are going to go out eventually, but we just need to go through that door at the very end on the right hand side. And then straight ahead, we're just going to keep heading through all the doors, and the doors are going to keep going forward and forward, and then they're going to change. And we're just still going to carry on going forward. There's a couple of boxes on the floor in front of you. Move around them. Keep heading forward and then jump past the red canisters. Just jump over them and keep heading forward. Once we enter this next room, we're going to head over to the left straight away. Don't head forward, head to the left, and then follow it round to the left, and there's another secret doorway around there. Take a right just after the diet soda, walk through the door and then take a left. In the next room there's a drop, so stop, look down, and there's a light. You need to use that light to look for the pathway that's across. It is forward, left, then forward. Head straight across, then head down the green corridor. You may want to watch that back because it is hard to keep track of. Once you've done that, just keep heading straight down the corridor all the way to the end, taking a right on the blue mat and keep following it forward past the head and follow it all the way around until you enter the next room. Once you're in the next room, there will be blood on the floor in the green room. Turn around and face the door and walk backwards, and eventually you will see a black silhouette of an arrow. Turn to the right, well, head right and then up the steps. Follow the steps around to the left using the lights on the floor and head into the next corridor. Head all the way down the corridor. Head towards the red light in the distance, and we're going to pick up the red light through the doorway on the left, drag it into the room that you're in, and then drop it, and then pick it up when it's a bit bigger, and then we're going to head back the way we came. Take a right down this dark tunnel, just past the boxes, and there's a tunnel through these big boxes. Find the tunnel through the boxes and head through there as quick as you can. There's two tunnels through two sets of boxes. Head into the next room, then drop your light and head through the doorway at the end. Take a right past the drinks machine and head down into the next room. Pick up the next red light and make it bigger. Make sure that the light is a lot bigger so that you can see the entire next room. I do a little bit of a cheat because I already know where it is, and I head into the next room and climb up the 3 steps. You will need to make sure that the light was big enough for you to see those steps. Once you're up and through the next room, head to the right and follow the corridor around. Follow the blood on the floor, or what you think is blood. Follow it all the way down to the end and you will see an IKEA sign, or should I say an idea sign. Click on it when you get close and then just walk straight past it and carry on towards the door. You'll see a whiteboard with writing on it. Go towards that, take a right, go all the way down the corridor and head into the elevator. And that is the end of this checkpoint. So once we are finished loading, we're going to do a 180 turn and head out the room again. Head down the corridor, take a right, head through the offices on the left hand side through both doors, head left down the corridor and then left again. Go down the purple corridor and grab the green door. Make sure that you take it with you. Take the green door with you all the way down and put it on the green button, and then walk straight ahead and out the door. Now we're going to go straight down this corridor and we're going to keep going all the way down, and then we're going to take a right and then a left. We're going to tap on this next door until it duplicates enough for us to climb on top of them and jump over the door itself. So go over, duplicate the doors and climb over itself. Head straight forward and around the cloudy picture and then into the door behind it. In the next room, get as close to the alarm clock as you can before picking it up. Then walk over towards the back wall and drop it below the door, building steps to the clock. Make sure the clock is quite big, and then you should be able to just jump on them when there's about 3 or 4 and use that to jump into the corridor above. Then follow the corridor around all the way and just keep following it around until you head into a light purple area, then a yellow door. Now you need to grab the yellowy green apple and keep lifting it up above the other one till it's big enough to actually push the other apple out the way. You might get this first time, or it might be a nightmare because it is very random. The best way to do it is to pick up the apple, move backwards and make it big above the other apple by holding it really high above it, and it should be a lot bigger. It should fall down and knock the other one out the way. If you mess up, just press the left trigger and it will bring them all back together and allow you to do it again. But as you can see, just keep lifting up until it knocks it off of the platform, and then once it's off the platform, you will need to bring them all together so you can leave the room. So now it's off, bring them all together and just leave the room. But that's pretty much what you need to do, get it off of the platform. Once you're in the next room, head through past the red apple and head up the stairs, the purpley looking stairs in the distance. And we need to get to the top now. The big red apple behind us we need to look towards, and we need to make sure we can only see half of it next to the button, and then press on it to bring the apple up to us. Once we brought the apple to us, move over to the left of the button and drag it by duplicating it onto the button. That will open the door behind us. Head out through the door behind us and follow the corridor around to the left and to the right, up the small set of stairs and then into the orange room corridor. Follow the corridor down and take a right. You'll see a sign in the distance. We need to pull that off the wall multiple times, duplicating it to allow us to be able to climb up. Climb up on top, then reset all the signs by pressing left trigger and head through both the doors. Head left at the cloud painting and follow the corridor around to the left, and just keep following it round to the left and through the doorway. Head down the purpley corridor looking corridor and to the right at the bottom, and just keep following that corridor all the way to the end and head through the blue door on the left. Follow that corridor now all the way to the end and enter the elevator.
Transmission ends. Hello, name is my Pierce Dr. Glenn.
Once we load into our room, we're going to do a 180 turn and then head directly forward into the relaxation suite, and just keep heading forward through both the arches, then take a left, head through the door on the left hand side into the blue room, head straight through the blue room towards the door in the distance on the right hand side, and just follow down the yellow corridor all the way down to the orange corridor, take a left, and when you see a white door, take a right, then another right, head through the office on the left hand side through both doors 1 and 2, head all the way down the corridor, take a left, and then drop down the hall. When you're in the room with the red carpet, grab the small house off the table and make it bigger by lifting it above your head. Once it's big enough for you to fit through, walk through the door, head inside and climb up the brown ledge, follow the corridor all the way down to the bottom, and then exit via the door on the right hand side. Now turn around, pick up the house, make it even bigger, walk back inside and enter the room directly ahead of you, and climb up on top of the suitcases, and then on top of the table on the right hand side with a white sheet, and then head through the door. Head straight forward towards the stereo and follow it around, and then head through the door behind. Then head down the corridor where the TV is and the red wire. Follow that red wire all the way down the corridors. Just keep going all the way down the corridors, go up the yellow steps, and then take a right. Keep following that cable. Now there's no cable, so just keep following it forward all the way down, and then take a left at the end where the door is. Head into the Jenga room, and just to the right of the Jenga there is a fan just on the small fan on the table next to the Jenga pieces. Pick that up and make it bigger by looking above your head, and you need to make it big enough to push over the Jenga blocks, so just keep picking it up till it's bigger. Try to get the perspective right until it's big enough and in position to push over the Jenga blocks, which releases the door as well. So head down and get through the door. Once they've fallen over, go through the door. Head straight forward, and there's a window on the left of the door ahead of you. Pick that up and keep putting it above your head until it's big enough for you to climb through the window as if it was a door. Head straight forward and follow it round, and then head through the next door into like a yellowy locker room. Keep heading forward through the lockers, past the stereo on the bin, and just keep heading forward through all the lockers all the way forward until you end up in the swimming pool with the bouncy castle. Now you need to make the bouncy castle in the swimming pool big enough for you to climb in, so just keep getting closer and picking it above your head until it is big enough for you to climb into the bouncy castle. Go through and into the air vent. Once you're at the end of the air vent, look down at the bouncy castle below you, put it in the air vent with you, then walk backwards so it's a lot smaller, and then use that on the second diving board ahead of you there, which is the top ledge. Once it's on that top ledge, walk through the bouncy castle door, and you will now be on the top ledge where the door is, and you need to go through that door. Head into the next area and follow it round. Keep following it around until the next room. Now this one is a bit of a pain. Walk into the next room, turn around, there is 2 doors, grab the smaller of the 2 doors on the right and pick it up and make it a lot bigger. You need to sort of line it up with the lock in the hole in the wall, just so the top of the door frame is at the bottom of the lock, as if you were going to walk from the top of the door. Anyway, head over to the smaller door once you've done that and head through it. And then you'll be back in the room, and on the left hand side there will be a small door now. You need to pick up this and rotate it towards the lock, and then you need to jump up and put it on top of the shelves. Head through and through the lock, drop down in the next room and look to the left, and there is a house in the distance. Bring it closer to you and lift it above your head a few times until it's big enough for you to enter. And then enter the room and follow it down the corridor, and then head into the elevator. Once we're back in our room, we're going to do a 180 and head out the room and just keep heading straight forward. And whenever there's green bollards, we're going to head the opposite way, so take a left at the first junction. Then we're going to take a right at the second junction. Keep following it forward through the door. And as soon as we go through the door, we're going to take a right at the next junction. Keep following it forward. Take a left at the next junction. follow it past the shelving, and then take a right through the next door. Keep heading forward, and then we're going to take a right here. Keep heading forward through the next door, and just keep heading forward all the way down the corridor and into the elevator, or should I say into where the elevator should be. Now on this part you just need to hang around, and after about 30 seconds to a minute it will throw you back to your room, so you can't really go wrong, so don't worry about it. I'm just heading backwards just because I've done this so many times. I just got a bit bored of just hanging around, but after about a minute or so, or roughly around about a minute, it will throw you back to your room. And once we're back in our room, we have to click on the alarm clock and leave the room as quickly as we can over and over again. But anyway, just as I get back to my room, it puts me back in my room anyway, as you can see. So once you're back in your room, click on the alarm clock and then leave the room as quickly as you can. Once you've left your room, keep following the corridor and then head through the offices, through both the doors on the left hand side, and then down the corridor, and then to the left. It'll spawn you back in your room. Click the alarm clock again, run out your room as quickly as you can and follow the same path. So back towards the offices, through the doors, and then it'll spawn you back in the room again. Click on your alarm clock, go back down the corridors as quick as you can, and it will keep doing it until eventually it goes black and then you spawn by standing on the wall. Drop down through the door and then look around for light, and in the distance you see a chair on its own with the alarm clock on it. Run over and press the alarm clock. It will spawn you back in your room. Pick up the blue painting on the wall on the right and keep making it bigger. Now the best way to do this is to sort of line it up down the corridor until it's big enough, as big as one of the doors, and then walk through it. I always have a bit of trouble with it, but hopefully you can get it a lot quicker than me. But yeah, just pick it up and look down the corridor. I didn't look down the corridor for a while like an idiot, but just look down the corridor and try to sort of line it up with a door just to make it a bit bigger. And as you do it, eventually it will be big enough for you to walk through. Walk around the sky painting once you're through it, and just keep following it around to the left through the door, and then just keep following it left, all the way left, and just keep following it left until you see a white box on the floor through the doorway. Once you see that white box, you can go to the right, and then the floor is going to fall from below you, and you will need to drop through the doorway where the red chess piece is, and then through the doorway in the floor in the next area. Grab the fire escape from the wall on the right hand side in the red room, and then it will fall down onto the floor. Move the fire door out the way and jump through the hole in the floor. Head through the blue corridor and into the light room. Take a right and head through the painting where there's a rip. Head straight forward past the radio, and where the big tubes are, there's a door on the left into an orange room. Enter the orange room and then just walk right to the far end wall and fall down a big hole. Once you're in the room at the bottom, pick up the big green steps and lift them, small green steps off the table, and lift them above your head till they're big. That will bash the floor below you and allow you to fall down and then enter the elevator. Once you go down the elevator, it actually will spawn you into a new area. Now this part is a little bit complex. Go through the green door, and then you need to look. So there's an arrow above each of the doors. You need to look the opposite way so you see the red signs, and then head in the direction that the arrow is telling you to, and just keep doing that. If you don't look the wrong way first, then it will just put you in a loop forever. So again, there's an arrow above the door, and you need to look the wrong way and then head the right way. You need to just do that until you get through that next area. Once you're through that next area, you'll be in a swimming pool area. Walk straight through, grab the dice and use it to climb up onto the next ledge. Then turn around and look for the dice. It will disappear and one will spawn behind you on the higher ledge. Bring that down and use that to climb up onto the next ledge, and then head through the bouncy castle looking wall door. Follow that round to the right. Ignore the first yellow chess piece and stand on the yellow platform. Look through the doorway, bring in the yellow chess piece from down there and put it on the yellow platform below your feet, allowing you to walk through the corridor. Follow all the way around and drop through the floor. Once you drop down, pick up the dice. It will change the room to white. Climb up onto the ledge using the dice, past the bed, and just keep walking forward. Into the next corridor, pick up the cube on the floor and drop it, and it will put you in a black corridor. Follow it forward, take a right, drop down, and you'll be in a red corridor. Walk forward all the way and click on the alarm clock. It will put you in an elevator. Do a 180 turn and head forward all the way until you see an arrow on the floor, then follow the direction of the arrow. Keep walking forward, follow the direction of the arrow. Every time it tells you to follow direction, keep following it, and you'll be in a room, a dark room with a alarm. Click on the alarm and that will turn into a painting. Head straight forward and into the elevator. Once the elevator goes down a little bit, it'll spawn you into an open area with loads of lights around you. You need to walk towards each set of lights until they turn into a painting. There's 4 in total. Imagine you're inside a cube. You need to walk towards each wall of the cube, all 4 walls. So just keep walking towards them and eventually the lights will turn into paintings. Again, there is 4 walls you need to walk towards. Once they've all turned to walls and paintings, turn around and there's a room in the middle of the room that you're now in. And inside that room there is a bed and a alarm. Click on the alarm and then that will put you into a loading screen. Once you wake up in the next room, do a 180 turn and grab one of the little houses off the table, the only one that you can grab, and lift it above your head until you're big enough to walk through the door in the sculpture, in the little model. Walk through the door, and then in the next room, grab the big room in the middle of that room, shrink it down, then head back through the door you just came through. That will create a paradox and it will destroy the room that you're in. So basically what you did there is you walked through the door and then you grabbed the room that you walked through and then you shrunk it down and then you walked back through the room, the door that you just walked through, which created a paradox. Hopefully that makes sense. And eventually the room will collapse in on itself and that will be the end of that area. And we can move on to the next part. So eventually you will spawn in a big white room. Look up towards the ceiling and spin around until you see a big black line. Head towards that big black line and there's a doorway there. Head through that doorway. Keep heading down the dark corridor through the 2 wide arches. And then eventually after the second arch you should fall through the floor. As you keep walking forward you will fall through the floor. Keep falling forward and keep moving forward and eventually you will enter a black floored room with a black cube ahead. Move the black cube out the way, it is actually an obstacle, and keep walking forward and go through the door. Up ahead there's a set. What we're going to do is head straight through the set as if it doesn't even exist. Just keep heading forward, straight through the door, then keep heading the same direction forward all the way. Just keep heading in the same direction. Try not to deviate from the path and just keep heading forward, and eventually you will see a door in the distance, and just as we get close it will turn to a rainy scene and the door will then turn to another door which is in the distance again. So as you can see we're on a rainy scene now and the door is in the distance. So just keep walking towards that door and eventually you will walk through it. Once you're through the door, just keep heading down the white corridor towards the black rectangle and you will fall through the floor. In the next room there's loads of lockers. You need to follow it around until you see a black hole in the wall which is a shadow from one of the lockers. Turn around 180 and walk backwards into that shadow and then you'll see the signs which will tell you which direction to go, which is left. Then you'll enter a room with a corridor with a black marble floor. Keep following the corridor through towards the white door at the end and then follow it through. You can either go around to the left or right in the next area and follow it through. You'll see a big white window. Head through the white window and you'll see a door in the distance. Just as you go through the white window, turn around and pick up the black and it will now be a black cube. Turn around and carry it towards the doorway you were heading towards and use that to climb up. Follow it around once you climb up to the left and you'll see some containers in the distance with a big orange pole. Head towards that and on it you will see a wide sort of rectangle that looks like a door. However, it is a light switch. So just keep heading towards that and as you get closer you will notice it's a light switch. Click it, walk backwards and turn around. Head towards the white stairs and walk through it as if it was a door. Turn around and you'll see black steps. Follow the black steps up, so actually walk up the black steps and follow the black path around. And eventually you will fall through the floor. You'll be in a room, head to the left where the blue pillar is and walk through the wall and just follow it round to the back of the blue pillar and there is a secret door. Head through that secret door and walk across the open courtyard into the door at the far left hand side, and you will be in a sort of cloud area. Follow it straight ahead past all the cones, and you will be in an area with a table with chess pieces. Now the way that this works is you will need to put a chess piece on each chess square to be able to move forward. Don't pick one up while you're on it, or you will fall through the floor. So pick up a chess piece, put it on one of the squares, pick up another chess piece and put it on the next furthest square away from you. Move onto that square yourself and then pick up the chess piece that was on the piece behind, and keep doing that, alternating. So we're moving one square ahead each time, looking back and grabbing a piece that was behind us, put it on the next piece until we can get all the way across. Keep heading forward and into the doorway. Once we're in this next room, go straight forward, grab the block on the left hand side and put it through the door directly ahead of us and let it go. Walk through the doorway yourself, grab the cheese and do the same opposite way around, and put the cheese into the room behind us, and then use that cheese to get bigger and bigger and allow us to go in the doorway at the top there. So just keep picking it up and up and up until it's big enough to jump through. I didn't quite make it big enough, so make sure that you have made it big enough to get up and climb into the doorway. Once you're in the next room, the checkered room, just head straight forward, and once you're on the checkered floor, you will actually start falling through. You need to fall all the way down until the room is completely black. So just keep going all the way down to the bottom until you're in the black room, and then find the doorway on one of the 4 walls. Head through that doorway and then head down the checkered corridor. Right at the end there is a left turning, so head all the way down the checkered corridor and then take a left. So just keep going down, all the way down, we'll then take a left. Head through the white door, then turn around instantly and move the big black block out the way and fall through the floor, which is red. You'll fall all the way down, you'll fall for about 30 seconds or so, and then once you are spawned in again, you'll be back in your room. You'll need to click the alarm and then you will get your 3 achievements. Hopefully, I know that's been absolutely mad trying to keep up with that. Hopefully though, it is a building block for you to work on if you haven't managed to get it this time. But it is very, very difficult to explain what's going on in the amount of time that I have to explain it. And now I did try and make this video 3 times. And I tried to do it a little bit slower the other times, but just couldn't do it within that time and explain what was happening. But like I said, hopefully this is a building block, and you can use this video to hopefully work towards getting these 3 achievements. You should definitely finish within an hour, and obviously you've completed the game now. But whether you did it in 35 minutes or not, that's another story. But I have told you everything you need to do to be able to get it. Maybe I told you a little bit fast, but if you go back and watch it and listen, you may be able to get that. Well, thank you very much for watching today, guys. We will see you in another video for this game very soon, where we help you get the rest of these achievements. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care. See you soon.
Boss Fight Gaming. You lose. Game over.